Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Okay, so
So, Martha, you gonna ask questions, or everybody can ask questions individually? Hi, Taylor, Jose, Luis, Luis or Luis?
Luis.
Oh, it's Lewis.
Luis.
so we're gonna just start with a few background questions, and then we'll get started in the two technologies that you used. So the first question is gonna be, what is your current job title?
Is project manager at Candelaria Design Associates. We do mostly residential, high-end residential designs.
And then are you primarily focused on a specific project or like job site, or do you work more in like the main office or like corporate level?
Uh, what a project manager does at our firm is we work with a principal, Mark Candelaria. Typically, we'll work with him or Tim Mathewson, and they're the ones that lead the project, that meet with the homeowners. So as a project manager, you're with them through the entire life of the project, and you help the principal develop uh, the schematic design, which is all design, and then it goes into design development, and then we do partly construction documents where you have a job captain that assists us to get those construction documents done and submit it to the cities. That's but as a project manager, you're involved with the entire project from the beginning.
How long have you been in construction overall, like in the industry, and then how long have you been at Candelaria?
I've been at Candelaria for 3 years, and I've been in this business for 35 years.
35 years?
35 years. But
Wow.
yeah, and I've been um I've mostly worked with home builders, running a drafting department, and I don't have a degree in architecture. I've learned way back when I was still drafting by hand. So a lot of the things that I've learned are through books and through learning from mentors, architects that I work with different styles and different ways of doing things. And now with Mark Candelaria, I'm really getting into learning more on how to do precise project management, which is very important for the project for our clients. Our clients are the number one thing on our list, and we keep them informed throughout the entire project. That is one of the main things that I do is I create correspondence on a weekly basis. I create meeting notes every time we meet with them. Any phone call, you got to document. Everything has to be documented. On top of that, you still have design drafting to do, and that's basically what a project manager does at our office. But for 35 years, it's been a learning process, and believe it or not, I'm still learning every day.
And did you get, you came into the construction industry, was it like on the design side of construction or was it on another trade?
I was a cement finisher and a block layer growing up with my dad. That's what I did. And then but I didn't want to do that forever. I really enjoyed architecture. I really enjoyed reading, really studying the life and work of Frank Lloyd Wright, Mies van der Rohe, all the old timers, Walter Gropius, people like that. And Frank Lloyd Wright was a big influence on the way I used to think about architecture and what it was. And I think that's what motivated me. He was a good drafter. So I want to be a good drafter. And that's I I was inspired by his stories, by books, actually, by reading a lot. And and now I am where I am, thank God.
Yes, and then
As
we'll just go into the two technologies you use and I'll let like one of my group mates go ahead and ask.
Oh, Jose, you were gonna say something really quick?
just real quick, like that you said you were like in the architecture design. Like, how do you guys, like, as a project manager, how do you decide like the technologies are worth investing, if that makes sense? Because I know it's a little expensive, obviously, to run all these programs and all that. So how do you know it's worth investing into it and keep using it for future projects?
That's a good question. We use AutoCAD. We
Hmm.
use AutoCAD and SketchUp. A lot of firms are using Revit, but in what we do, I think I think AutoCAD and SketchUp are more conducive to like a one-time thing, with architecture, with houses.
Hmm.
If you're doing a commercial work, I think Revit is great because the way it other people can use it from outside of the firm, and the way it layers a building, mainly, maybe a high rise and things like that. So we don't deal in those kind of that capacity. So drafting and then as far as AutoCAD, you create your own blocks and your text and everything, and it stays pretty much the same. As far as design work, Mark does 100% of the design. He allows us to bring up if we have a design question or a design idea, he accepts it. He'll look at it and say, okay, if you can convince him, great. It goes into the design, which I have a few right now with one of my projects. And sometimes it bugs him because it's like we're already past the schematic stage, and I say, hey, I just noticed something here. You have your laundry room right at the headbed of this wall for the people, and when they're doing laundry, it's gonna like not let them sleep. Can we move it somewhere? Here it is. Here's the design change I proposed. I'm like, oh, I like that. All right, let's run with it. Show it to the homeowner, and then okay. But sometimes he'll miss things. He rarely misses things, but he may. And my job is to really watch his back and take care of our customer. But I think design, you mentioned technology. Design starts up here, okay?
Hmm.
It's what you know, it's what you think, okay? It's so important. It's what you carry in here. That is the most important thing. Design, and I think Martha has seen this. Design, Mark will sit down with a homeowner with a site plan, and we have these little cutouts on foam, little rooms. I mean, little things, like little toys, right? Like little blocks. And we'll sit down, and he'll move them around until he creates this floor plan right in front of them. The flow, the hallways, bedrooms, everything on the site plan. We take a photo of it, a picture with a phone, and then I take that and I develop a floor plan from it. And then we start to tweak the floor plan in AutoCAD. It's easier, right? But we already have the basic idea. It's like bubble diagrams. When you do in school, you do bubble diagrams and lay it out. His is a little more precise because he has a spreadsheet with the rooms and things like that. But then technology takes over because that's we're still drawing by hand. It would take forever. Although some of us could draft really quick, but it's difficult to share plans sometimes, and it's a lot easier now in using AutoCAD. I could be working on something in AutoCAD, as you know, and then someone else could be doing using your base plan and do an electrical plan, or you can send off the same plans, and an engineer will still be doing other things. You're still working on it, and as you change things, because they're XREF, the plan gets changed. It says, oh, you get a little note saying, oh, Miguel made a little revision. Okay, so you upload it again, boom, you see the revision. And that helps a ton. It moves things along. And then straight from that, still during the time of schematic, we are still we go straight into a SketchUp model. A SketchUp model, it really you start to really see things and see the problems with a design. It's like, okay, now we can raise this roof, we can lower this or whatever, and it starts to kind of look alive now. And then once the homeowner accepts those things, then then we can move into more deeper design development package for them. But we
Mhm.
do use AutoCAD and SketchUp.
Would
Very
you
important.
say specifically AutoCAD would change construction the next 5, 10 years, or which one would you choose specifically?
To be honest with you, I think right now it's changing slowly, and I see it in the young people in my office. I
Mhm.
see us going into chief architect. It's nice to know AutoCAD for maybe for the development of your computer skills, maybe, and how a plan goes together. Because you, it's almost like putting a set of plans together in AutoCAD. It's like
Mhm.
putting a set of plans together manually almost. That's
100%.
why that's yes. So I believe that's why it's lacking a little bit because we're still doing that. Where I believe the young guys at the office are telling us, in chief architect, it develops the floor plan, but then you already have the elevations and sections and the roof plan. Oh my God, it's already basically done. That kind of stuff. Well,
Uh-huh.
I've seen that in Revit and it doesn't work. Revit's really choppy sometimes. Um, but the way chief architect is, it's a little more precise and is more conducive to residential design, I think. So both will be good. Both will be good, but I think SketchUp is essential as well.
It's funny that you mentioned because earlier you said that you're used to the old-fashioned way and hitting the books and just drawing it out, but nowadays it's mainly just technology and people are just trying to adapt to it. So I always just wanted to ask, like, what's like beneficial to that, but you answered it perfectly.
Yeah, like I said, it starts up here, and you have to know how a building goes together. That is so important. One
Mhm.
of the th one of the things I used to do, and I'll tell you a quick story. I don't know if I've told Martha this. The way I started drafting was I was actually driving a delivery truck delivering kitchen cabinets, and I was wanting to be an architect. I was 19 years old, and I'm driving this truck, right? And then right next to this building, there was this dumpster, and I see all these blueprints sticking out of there, plans and stuff from this mechanical engineer. So after work, I took my little old pickup truck and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I like look inside the dumpster and there's plans everywhere. It was packed with plans, building plans. I loaded up my little truck and I'm like, I had a 53 Chevy pickup and I just loaded the whole thing up. And I bring it home and my mom's like, what is that? ¿Qué traes ahí, Miguel? It's plans, it's blueprints, it's my life, it's gold. This I need this. This is amazing. It's my education. She's like, what? So I took him and I studied him. I learned how to read a scale, everything. You still have to do those things,
Mhm.
learn how to read a scale, learn how to read a set of drawings. And then I'm like, I can trace. I'm an artist. I can trace. I trace plans and I learned how to do a foundation plan and a floor plan. I'm like, this is easy. So one day I go looking for supplies, getting supplies, and then I'm gonna be an architect and everything. So there was this little pickup outside of this art shop where they were selling blueprint supplies, and it said Custom Plus, builder of fine custom homes. So I asked the guy, hey, I'm looking for a job. I'm a drafter. I wasn't a drafter, but he says, oh, you're a drafter? I need somebody. Why don't you come to my office on Monday? I'm like, all right. Man, I got home. I told my mom, I got a job. They're gonna pay me $4 an hour. It's like really cool. And that's how I started. Dumpster diving.
Dumpster diving.
Yeah, yeah. That
Faking
that's
it till you make it, basically.
that's it. Yeah. And and I did take a drafting class at Pima College in Tucson, and I would just live in the library. I was like surrounded by all these books. That was my thing. Everybody does it different, you know. But if you don't go into architecture, you may go into project management, construction superintendent, you may go into structural engineering. There's a lot of things you can do. It's that knowledge that you're building it's really a process that you're learning, because you guys are probably learning a lot of theory and things like that. Application, when you get out there, and I'll be frank with you, people out there businesses. They want to know how you're going to help them make money. Okay, that's what it is. He wants to build big buildings now, skyscrapers. Now you got to get up there. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So if you can make them money by your skills, then that's it. That's how you get in there. You know, your determination. And sometimes it's a little sacrifice, you know, because they don't in the beginning you're not paid a lot of money. But that's a sacrifice. You have to learn how to
But in the
learn.
long run, it's rewarding.
Yes, if you have the right plan. If you
Hmm.
have the right plan, know where you're going and meet the right people, get the right mentors, then and really pay attention. Yeah, I mean, look at me. Candelaria Design is probably the number one residential firm in the whole Southwest, probably in the whole eastern part of the United States. Okay, we do very, very high-end homes. When I first came here to Phoenix from Tucson, I was working as a drafter for a designer, and on the weekends I'd go out looking at projects, framing. They were framing. I love to go to job sites, so I saw this one project. And I was talking to the superintendent. He says, "Yeah, this guy, you know, he's a pretty great, good architect. His name is Mark Candelaria." I'm like, oh, okay. So I started following him. So for 25 years, I've been trying to get into his firm, believe it or not. And 3 years ago, they hired me. Took a long time, huh? When I came for my interview, I told him, you know, you guys got like four of my resumes here. I've been wanting to come in here, and now I'm here. You know,
Wait, Miguel, I
so
have a question. Like, how do you guys incorporate or want to incorporate like AI now that it's just such a big thing, especially in construction and the design industry?
the way we use it, of course, probably like everybody else with GTP. And the other thing is, by the way, that's how I got my job. I use that. I didn't tell them, but what happened was, we're starting to get feedback for our designs. If you put in your designs, the and give them the address of your project, they it will tell you that you have good orientation or bad orientation. They will tell you that it's a good conducive design for the area and good square footage, things like that. So it does give you tidbits. Naturally, it will give you all of that. And then we're starting to kind of implement maybe some elevations in there. If you give them a roof plan and a floor plan, some guys are messing around with that right now. I haven't, but some of the job captains are pretty high tech.
Do you guys ever use it for like renderings or anything, or is that more of like, do you guys do that on a separate software?
Yeah, they use I think there's a program called D5 that one of our guys uses I think through SketchUp. But then we do have someone else, believe it or not, that lives in Turkey, and he does a lot of our high-end renderings. And we have a relationship with people. Electronically, you can do that from anywhere. And he's pretty good at it. His name is Razin. You guys look him up. He does really good work.
I had a quick question too. I know how you talked about using like ChatGPT and AI. Is there any way you guys hope to use AI in the future?
Yes, it's something that we have to keep up with, and that we've talked about that in the office, in our team meetings. We're headed that way, and I've seen on YouTube also what it can do. You put in a floor plan and things like that, and it's like, whoa, it's a good start. Maybe we could do this or do that. It's very much, yeah. Even I think we're just talking about how do you call this? When you wear the goggles and stuff, and you can walk through the house, that kind of thing. One of the guys has this thing, and he's starting to use it for exercising or whatever in one of our Zoom rooms.
Oh, the VR stuff?
Yeah, yeah, the VR, yeah. So, it, and I think it works with SketchUp or something like that. He was telling me. So it's coming up.
So
I was gonna
different.
say, in like residential construction, do you think virtual reality is like more useful for like clients to walk through houses that they might be buying and stuff like that?
Well, not that they might be buying, but because we use Matterport already, and you've seen Matterport when you go on Zillow and all that, and you go through the house. We use that program. Matterport also is a camera. I don't, you guys heard of that? And it digitizes the entire home because we do, I want to say maybe 75% of our work is custom remodels. So we have to go out there and measure. So we use the Matterport system and it measures everything. But as far as walking through a house, maybe a new sketch, yes, I think that's very important because a lot of clients cannot visualize a design in 2D. When you're showing them a set of plans, they can visualize those things. So yes, it's very helpful, and I think it'll be competitive out there if especially those people not using it. Yeah, we're still considering all those things. It's very important. Times are changing than when I used to draft by hand, and sharpen my pencil and things like that. It's totally different. But I think the most important thing that you guys do have to understand if all you guys are interested in architecture, I'm not sure what type of architecture you're interested in, whether it was commercial, let's say commercial or residential. You, you have to get out there. You have to really get out there. Don't think of yourself as just an office person. Your background, your basis, your strength is going to come from knowing how a beam goes together, how a beam is supported. The structural elements are so important out there. When you go out to a job site, ask permission, ask a superintendent if they can walk you through the project and look at how they frame a window. It's such a simple thing, right? A window, you have the window opening. You have, but in drafting, once you get a job, you're gonna be required to know what a trimmer is, a king studs, the cripples, the headers, the sill, all in wood in framing, because that's mostly what we do, wood framing. But you learn those details because when you're creating a set of plans, sometimes you have to, it's your responsibility to go get the proper details. And it's like, okay, I remember this. I remember we did this. Oh, I remember the flashing around the window or the beam, the connection to the beam to the post and things like that. And then you might see a problem and say, hey, if we put this beam, it's gonna stick underneath the drywall. Doesn't look right. Oh, okay, good catch. And then keep an eye on that. And how do you know that? Because you've seen it out in the field. You went out in the field and you saw it. And you see how that beam went together and how they made it a flush beam and they lifted it up and now the truss is hanging from it instead of being bearing like this. Now the beam is right here. Now the truss is just hanging on it, which is but you don't see the beam down here. Things like that, little details like that. Details are so important.
Yes, I think you answered all of our questions, but just to like wrap up, what would be like some skills or tools that you think that we should start focusing on now to be prepared once coming into either the construction industry or the design industry?
I think, of course, learning AutoCAD. Learn as much as you can. AutoCAD is what we use. Think about chief architect. If you guys going into commercial, you're gonna need Revit. Just focus on that a lot, and then SketchUp. It can be very valuable, SketchUp, but a lot of firms right now they want drafters that know what they're doing. With modeling. So that would be huge. Um, Depends, because SketchUp involves design. So there's only certain people who are going to be involved with it. If you're really good at the SketchUp, then you'll probably be, right in there with designing right away, which is really good. But learn how to work with Revit because if you're going commercial, if you're going residential, learn AutoCAD and possibly Chief Architect and SketchUp. Of course, Microsoft Word, Excel, all those things. Because there's a lot of reporting. We do a lot of reports, a lot of schedules, a lot of project schedules. Our project schedules we do in Excel. and which Martha helped me a lot in. Thank you. But that's those are basic programs that you'll use. Anything else, it's a benefit. Just like I said, what you learn out in the field, that's people don't think that's a tool, but that's probably the most important tool, your knowledge of construction. Learn the building code. That's one thing I forgot to tell you. The building codes, there's a lot of typical things that they require in a design. You can't just go hog wild and design a room without any windows. It's a habitable room. You need egress for fire. You need the smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, things like that. Everything has to be in code. And then if you're dealing with the handicap codes, then that's a whole different issue. And that's what we do with Habitat for Humanity. All our projects are that way, you know. And it's just different things, learn structures. Right now we do stem and footings, foundations with slabs, but some people use post tension, which is, you guys probably know what that is, with a rebar, with the cables, that's depends, how the soil is. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of things out there for you guys, but it's you guys can handle it, I'm sure.
Okay, so well, thank you again, Miguel, for talking to us. I think we learned a lot about your experience at Candelaria. I don't know if any of my other group mates have any more questions, but I think you answered all of them.
I agree. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And you guys, wish you guys the best of luck, and Martha has my email. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you,
But,
Miguel.
Yeah, thank
all right,
you.
you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Have a good day.
You too.